Well, some of you might be wondering why the EDA is embarking on a regional economic development strategy when clearly the region is doing so well. In fact, in 2011, 12 and 13, we've outshone the rest of the country. In Nelson Tasman had an increase between 2009 and 2012 of 9.5% over that period, where the country's increase was 6.7%. So we're doing very well. The latest cluster figures that the EDA have from Burl in 2012 show that these 5 key industries in 2012 accounted for 1.4 billion, or 38% of the region's GDP. That's a lot of in just those 5 sectors. Now, the point is that the region needs to be looking after these key specialised industries, no matter whether it's good times or bad times. So that's the point of having an economic development strategy. There are 3 other export clusters or industry clusters that also account for $250 million of GDP in 2012, and that's engineering, aviation and ICT. Just before I move off our great industries, I just want to run through probably the first 2. We're the largest growing pear district in New Zealand, biggest producing region of boysenberries in the world. Now, we've got a lot to celebrate in this region, and from those industries and other things. And we need to make sure that those unique advantages that we have, we keep. Regional governance plays a critical role in our economy. Councils have huge responsibility for our wellbeing, the natural resources and people wellbeing, and 60 to 70% of the expenditure is on infrastructure. It's important that councillors understand business needs, and Rachel talked about that this morning, earlier this afternoon, how they know they need to engage. And that is an important thing, because as regional councils are doing their plans, they need to be aligning with what business plans are happening in the background that they may not know about. And our regional identity is extremely important as a foundation for economic growth as well, because our identity will either attract or deter people from coming to live and work here. So the strategy that's going to be coming out shortly, it's not going to suggest that we start a whole new industry in the hope that it will be our economic silver bullet. What it is going to focus on is building on our regional strengths, and I've talked a lot about them just in the past slide. But all of you, as I went around and I've been talking to a lot of you over the last few months, you've all got just so much knowledge that's been built up over time, and it's been built up from experience and in context. And so that information that you have, I thought as I was going around talking to people, and Don touched on it earlier, is that a lot of that information that you have can be shared with other industries, with councils and within the region to make sure everyone's making better informed decisions. The strategy, why are we doing it? Developing the region's economy will result in improved standards of living for our residents. And the objectives that we have there are both economic growth objectives, but they're also economic development objectives. So we need growth for development, but we want to make sure our region develops so that everyone benefits, not just a few. And they're mainly around our income levels, our medium income levels, and while we have had good growth in GDP, we are still below the New Zealand average in GDP per capita. Our medium incomes, both personal incomes, household incomes, and so we need to be looking at lifting those. And so the strategy will base around those things I've talked about, and the initiatives and plans will flow through from them. I'm just going to leave you with one last slide, which I think is really relevant. That's our biggest opportunity in the next few years. We're poised with the development of the aquaculture marine areas over in Golden and Tasman Bays. We're poised to get those cranked up and providing employment and additional GDP. Thank you.